This is DRF Race of the Day. Hi, everybody. Dan Illman and Mike Beer, the DRF Race of the Day for Wednesday, December the 1st. Race number 6 at Tampa Bay Downs. Let's throw up the field for this turf sprint, 5/8 of a mile. It's an optional claimer, $75,000, the optional claiming price. You can download free Formulator Pass performances for this race on the Race of the Day event page at DRF.com. Access them, handicap along with us. You can play this race. It kicks off a 50-cent pick 4 at Tampa Bay with DRF Bets. Mike, the Critical Way, last seen winning the Grade 3 Park Stash. He's in for 75 on Wednesday. What's up with that?
Yeah, in for the it's a pretty high price for a horse who's about to turn 8, Dan. We'll see. Obviously, when you just look at his form, 7 starts last year, ran really well in every one of those. I don't know what to say here. I don't know if it's a bad sign or not that he's offered for the 75. To me, he's just way the horse to beat, and it might be the fastest horse early as well.
He's been on the board in every start since September of 2020, and he's got big speed. We throw up the Timeform US Pace Projector. The Critical Way, who might be the best horse, might get the best trip if he's able to clear off to the top, and he's going to be very tough to catch over a course that he has had great amount of success over in the past.
Yeah, I mean, he's just supposed to be really, really hard for this field to beat. It's a great spot for them to come back off of, a mini layoff here. Last seen at the end of August, winning a Grade 3. This is obviously a much easier spot than that.
Chessmaster, the number 1, also likes Tampa Bay. I like the way that this horse won here on March the 10th. He showed good speed in that race, but in his last 2 at Canterbury, he's rated from off of the pace, and he's succeeded, including this effort back on September the 15th. Let's watch Chessmaster dust off a starter allowance field. He sat in behind horses down towards the inside. He's going to try to ease to the outside. He takes a very minor bump, but once he's in the clear, he's going to drive these horses down.
Yeah, it's only a 77 buyer, but this is, he didn't even try to win this race. Once he got into the clear, he beat this field on his own power, Dan. Really nice performance 2 back as well, in a much faster time. Even the stakes race back in June where he was beaten by Jazzy Times, I thought he ran well in that race too, Dan. He went up after the horse on the lead around the turn in that race. He got a little tired at the end, but he did some running.
Another horse that's done some good work at Canterbury this year is the 2, Ship It Red, won twice at Canterbury in a tough allowance race at Keeneland last time out, where he was pretty close to the pace and then he tired. It was not a bad effort at all. His buyer speed figures, like many in this field, pale in comparison to those of the Critical Way, but he has a race or 2 that makes him somewhat competitive. He might need a little bit of help up front.
Yeah, well, we'll see if the race sets up for him and if he can just, I think if he just holds his form, maybe he could get a piece of this, maybe to use him at least underneath at a fair price. Then his recent form is fine.
Miami Crockett won an off-turf non-winners of 1 allowance at Delaware 2 starts back. Then was dropped in for $7,500 at Monmouth, returning to his preferred surface on the turf. Let's watch that race, September 26th. We're going to see Miami Crockett going to try to come from out of it at this 5.5 furlong distance. He finishes 3rd. The winner of this race did come back to run 2nd, but only in a $6,000 claimer at the Meadowlands with a 74 buyer. So Miami Crockett seems to be taking a pretty big step up.
Yeah, it's a huge step up in class for him. He just looks like he's probably overmatched in this field. And he's another horse. It feels like he wants to, be a little more forward than he was last time, Dan. That's not going to be a good place to be with the Critical Way in here.
Interested in your thoughts on the Critical Way's last race. It was the Grade 3 Park Stash on August the 31st. Let's watch that race right now. He only wins by a nose as a heavy favorite. But if you watch Paco Lopez, he never got the whip out. He's fairly comfortable on this horse. There's a 99-1 shot on the lead. Maybe Paco is a little overconfident because this gets very close at the end.
Yeah, it's probably closer than it needs to be in this race, but he is going to get the job done, and it's a good field too. So I think there's a lot to like about that performance. Maybe not the best ride in the world, but this horse just did what he was supposed to do in there. I don't know what to say, Dan. I think it's all pretty much right there on paper for you. Any one of the 7 races he ran last year, if he shows up and runs it in here, he's probably going to win.
I believe he was pre-entered in the Breeders' Cup Turf Sprint off that last race. He didn't make it into the body of the field, and here he is for 75. It's an interesting turnaround, but he is obviously the horse to beat. Jazzy Time certainly has races going on the way back that would make him tough, and it still seems like he has a little bit of ability. His most recent turf race, 2 starts back, he showed speed on the rail. He got caught up in a little bit of a pace dispute, and the runner-up from that race came back to win a 3 other than at Keeneland with a 90 buyer. So he has some ability, but a lot of minor awards on his record.
Yeah, there are. He does often settle, but he's a quality horse. It's interesting that he's only 3 for 21 on turf because his form is actually pretty solid overall. And I really respect the fact that he doesn't need to be part of the pace in this race. It feels like in this spot, he's probably going to have to keep himself forward, though, to not let the critical way get too far ahead of him. But he does feel like the most likely upsetter if you're looking in that direction.
Listen, the 6 Fox Rocks is 30-1 on the morning line and might be up against it, but he deserves a round of applause. He's a 10-year-old. This is going to be his 111th start to the post, 25 lifetime victories. And although his recent form is lacking, he was able to achieve a co-best buyer speed figure in his 10-year-old campaign. He's a cool horse.
Yeah, very cool horse. Not only does he win a lot and race a lot, he does it on any surface. It doesn't matter if it's turf, if it's dirt, if it's synthetic. He shows up and he runs every time. He's another horse who has really good tactical speed. It feels like this is a tough spot for him.
About today, the number 7 is going to try turf for the first time. He won his first 6 starts in his native Argentina, but then went away for almost 2 years. He came back on dirt in a pretty tough spot in Parks. That Admiral Abe is a nice allowance horse over there. He's going to try turf, and he's getting Lasix for the first time. There's a little bit of turf here on the bottom of this pedigree.
There is, I mean, I guess you could look at him and just say he's a real wild card in here if you believe that his dirt form from Argentina makes him competitive in here. I don't know how to really evaluate that. That was a tough spot off of a very long layoff at Parks the last time we saw this horse. But I think it's still very much open to question how good he is.
Second start off a short layoff for the 8 Baby Boomer. Let's watch his recent turf race over the summer at Delaware. This is his start 2 back. He showed good speed in here, but he's not going to be able to go with a solid turf sprinter. Dubini game to finish second, 77 buyer. He ran on dirt last time out. He's a good dirt horse as well. He's probably equally good on each surface. He just needs a little bit of a buyer boost.
Yeah, I mean, I guess he's just going to have to run the best race of his life to win here. He did run a 90 buyer at Gulfstream last April. That was a day when he was able to get to the lead. I don't think he can get to the lead in here, but he should be up close, and he does have one race that would give him a look.
Outside post, so tough going 5/8 at Tampa Bay with the tight turn. Let's take a look at our top selections for the Wednesday race of the day. Not interested in betting the critical way at 2-5, but to be honest with you, Mike, I just don't want to bet against him.
I feel the same way. I don't want to bet against this horse. I couldn't find that one other alternative that I could really get interested in. I thought about Chess Master because I think he's just going to sit on the rail and try to gun this horse down. I just don't know if he's good enough.
4152 for Mike, 4587 for me. We'll see if the critical way can continue his winning ways, and we'll see if someone takes him for 75 in Wednesday's race of the day, the 6th at Tampa Bay. Good luck.